let's make some water kefir. I just ordered water kefir. I don't know if some of you guys may know, but I'm on a drink to try to heal my gut. And one thing I've read is how fermented foods and things can be really good for your gut. So I ordered some water kefir grains off Amazon. I'll link it below if you also want to start water kefir, but I've never tried it, I've never tasted it, but I'm so excited to try it and see what it does for my gut health.
So I ordered the water kefir grains off of Amazon. I'm looking through the directions and I prepared everything that they said that you would need for the brewing process. So first you needed 1/4 glass jar. You needed some sugar. I wanted to make sure I got quality sugar. You need the water kefir grains. You need some molasses to help that sugar process go. And again, I'm going to check the directions over and over again. I'm going to fill my jar up with 3 cups of water. And that's what it described in the directions, that it needed 3 cups of filtered water. So I think that's important for the water to be filtered, just to not mess with the bacteria growth if it's treated water. And so next I got some sugar that I'm going to measure out. I believe it's called for 1/4 cup of sugar, and I wanted to make sure I got really good quality sugar, so I'm using raw sugar cane, organic, and so I would just probably suggest using a good sugar. I think that's what I saw in some of the Amazon reviews, that some people were saying that their grains didn't fully activate. So I think probably not having a good quality sugar may have had a play in that, based off some of the reviews I saw. And so I'm gonna add the molasses. It said a tablespoon of molasses, and now I have a whole jar of molasses that I need to figure out what to do with it. I think I'm gonna make some brown sugar with the rest of this molasses because it's a lot. But anyways, I'm gonna combine. I added the molasses to the jar, and I'm just gonna mix it together just to get it dissolved in the water. So now that the sugar and molasses is all started and dissolved, I'm going to go back and check the directions again because I'm that type of person to read it over and over again. I'm going to open the package of the water kefir grains, and one thing that I really liked were that these were not dehydrated grains, so you did have to use it kind of immediately after you received the package in the mail, just to make sure that I think the grains don't get bad or something, but whatever. I made this within I think 20 to 48 hours after I received it in the mail, and they weren't dehydrated, so I think you had to use them kind of immediately. So the next step in the directions was to inoculate the grains. So I'm going to add the kefir grains to the sugar water mixture, and I'm just going to stir it up just to make sure it's all combined. Now that it's all combined, I'm going to put a breathable cover over the jar. I'm just going to use a coffee filter, and I'm going to use my mason jar ring and just to secure it in place. And then it says to store it in a warm location, ideally something that's about 76 to 78 degrees and out of direct sunlight, and let it ferment for about 48 hours. And that's what I'm going to go do now. It's been 48 hours, and the next step in the process is to strain the liquid and to re-brew the water kefir grains. And so I wanted to see what the process was like, what the liquid is looking like. So what we were doing prior was to activate the grains, and so we're going to move to the next step of the primary fermentation. So let's look in the jar and see what the liquid is looking like.
Let's work on the next part of brewing this water kefir or kefir. I don't know. I think it's water kefir. I think. Smells almost like a kombucha. It almost smells really fermenty. I can't even explain. Like alcohol fermentation almost. That's exactly what it was. When I was younger, I used to make wine because our house growing up had grapevines, and this smells exactly like that. It smells almost like when you're starting to make wine with the grapes. It smells like the the alcohol fermentation. So what it asks is to, after it's been brewing for 48 hours, strain the grain from the liquid and discard the liquid. Oh, it's sad that you can discard it. It smells almost so good. It smells like an alcohol. Like I can make an alcohol drink for you.
I went and grabbed my strainer to strain the liquid that almost smells like hooch and to catch all the grains. So I'm just going to discard all that liquid and look at all the grains. I believe that the more that you brew those grains, it'll multiply and the grains will get bigger. So I'm actually excited to see what the grains will turn out to be like. To rebrew the water kefir grains, you're going to need another 3 cups of filtered water. I'm going to fill up my jar with some filtered water, and then we're going to do that step again of adding the sugar and the water kefir to that sugar water mix. And so now I'm grabbing my sugar, and it's going to call for another 1/4 cup of sugar. Again, I think you should use some good quality sugar. If this is for your gut health, you're going to want to use good quality products. So get yourself some good quality sugar. I got this one from Aldi's, and then the other sugar cane Leroy, I got it from another grocery store. But just want to make sure you get some good quality sugar. Just make sure that everything's good when you're making something that's good for your gut. After you've measured out the 1/4 cup of sugar, you're going to add it to your jar of water, and you're just going to mix it just to make until it's dissolved and you don't like really see the sugar or the crystals at the bottom. After the sugar is thoroughly dissolved in the water, you're going to want to add your kefir grains back into the jar. I completely forgot to film myself adding the water kefir grains back into the jar, but make sure you add it back and then put that breathable cover back on, and then you're going to store it again in a warm place that's ideally 76 to 78 degrees and out of the direct sunlight, and let it ferment. We're going to come check on this again in 24 hours. It's now been 24 hours later, and in the next step of the process, you're supposed to taste the liquid. It should be slightly sweet, pH about 3.5 ideally, and if it's close, if you've been keeping it in a warm temperature, they'll tell how active the grains are. So the more you use it, the more active the grains are going to get and multiply. Now I'm going to move to the secondary fermentation. You could actually stop at this point and just drink the liquid this way, but I want it to mix with juice, so I got the next things for that step. I need a swing top bottle to keep that carbonation. I need a funnel, quality organic juice, and you need the liquid. So let's taste it to see where we're at. So my first impression of the smell was that it smelled fermenty, like something definitely was happening, and I wanted to obviously taste it and to see what it tasted like. And so per the directions, it should be slightly sweet, and that's exactly what it tasted like. It tasted slightly sweet. It tasted really good actually, so I was very, very excited that it worked. Again, at this step, you actually could just stop. So we're now on day 5. You can actually stop here, separate the grains from the water kefir water, and just drink that. But again, I wanted to have it almost like a soda, like a fizzy soda. So I moved on to the next step, which is the secondary fermentation. So I'm going to separate the grains. So I'm going to strain the grains from the liquid and reserve that liquid water. And so this is what you'll see me doing. And from here, it looked like the grains got bigger and multiplied a little bit more, but that's just me. But I think it definitely did. And here's a great shot of what the grains look like after I separated it. And the liquid is obviously a slightly yellow color, which is great. I'm now going to pour in the water kefir water. So again, I only filled up the juice about halfway into the bottle, and you're going to make sure you want a funnel. I got these bottles, the 16-ounce swing top bottles and the funnel all on Amazon. I'll link them below in the description. And you're going to also make sure you don't want to overfill it, because you need to leave, I believe, at least 1 inch headspace on the top so then the carbonation can have space to build. I overfilled it a little bit. You'll see that here, and it's going to kind of overflow. Again, it's active, so I overfilled it quite a bit, and so it's going to spill. So you just want to make sure you leave some space, a 1 inch head space, for the carbonation to have space to expand. So now that the bottles are filled with the juice and then the water kefir, I'm gonna cap them, and you're gonna want to place it in an area that's between about 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit for about 1 to 5 days. And per the directions, the duration of the step is really tied to the temperature. So the warmer it is, the faster it's going to reach that ideal temperature or kind of fizziness. I'm going to just store it and see how it goes day by day. And what I'm going to do right now is to re-brew the kefir grains again that I had, just to keep that process going, and I can always have water kefir on hand for myself. So I'm going to add again that 3 cups of water and then the 1/4 cup of sugar, and then I'm going to mix it to make sure it's dissolved in the water, and then I'm going to re-add those water kefir grains. And then one thing that I have found is that while I'm doing this, doing the process over and over again so you can make sure you have it on hand isn't that hard, and it's super easy once you get into that habit of rebrewing, straining, and then making the secondary fermentation, and it just goes and turns into second nature. One thing that you also can do, I read in the directions that if you want to take a break from brewing, or if you're going on vacation, all you have to do is kind of follow the instructions of brewing, inoculating, and then you place the jar in the refrigerator, and then every couple of weeks you can pull it out and refresh the grains and brew it again. So that's also a great option if you don't always want to do this process over and over again. You can always take a break and store it in the fridge. So it's 24 hours later. Let's burp these, because apparently if you don't, it's going to explode in the middle of the night and it'll scare the crap out of us. So let's burp it. Let's burp these. Let's check back in a few days and see how it tastes and how fizzy it gets. Bye! Today's testing day. Let's try the water kefir. It's okay. That was caught on camera. All right, let's try it. It's really good. Oh my gosh. Like soda, like pomegranate soda. This is a mess, but this is delicious.
I'm gonna bottle this up and take it to my sister, and I have more water kefir I'm gonna make. You guys have to try this. All right, I'm gonna go to bring this up, walk this off to my sister. See you later.